recording. Okay, you are all set.
This is the Tuesday, June 20, 2022 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board. Members in attendance are Mr. Punderson, Mr. Torsha, Mr. Kingston, Mr. Jarasuelo, and myself, Russell Denver. Required by Mass General Law to inform everyone that this meeting is being recorded by LCAT for people to be able to view. And I need to ask if there's anyone in the audience who might be recording the meeting, and if so, would you please raise your hand so you can be brought into the meeting, and just inform us who you are and the method in which you are recording the meeting. Hearing none. So I'd like to, the first item of business would be the approval of the June 6th meeting of the June 6, 2022 meeting of the planning board. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to review them. Anyone have any edits, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, by roll call. Mr. Jarasuelo?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
Mr. Torsha?
I'm gonna abstain.
Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
And I'm a yes as well, so that item passes. So we have received a request from Thomas O'Brien's attorney, Lawrence Levine, for a continuance. Apparently, Mr. O'Brien has a very close friend who passed away. The memorial service is scheduled for this evening. I would ask the board if we could take that item out of order. And so just on the request to take the item out of order, do I have a motion to do so?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, by roll call to take this item out of order. Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
Mr. Jarasuelo?
Aye.
Mr. Torsha?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
And I'm a yes as well. So upon the request to continue this item, discussion?
I would like to move it along because I'd like to have a discussion with Mr. O'Brien in this format and talk with him and tell him what I think is the proper course of action personally.
Any other board discussion? So I do know that there are a couple of neighbors who spoke at the last meeting about this issue. So we have made arrangements with LCAT. So should this board vote to continue this, LCAT is available. Bailey, please correct me if I'm wrong, but at 6 o'clock on the 26th or the 6 o'clock on the 27th. So I see Don Courier, who I know spoke and also provided a letter to the town council about this matter. So maybe we can bring Ms. Courier in and she could let us know what would be her best availability should we vote to continue.
And just a correction on the date. It's Monday, the 27th and Tuesday, the 28th.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So Ms. Courier, I know you've been very patient. So if we were to vote to continue this, what date is best for you?
Are you looking to continue this again to the 26th or the 27th?
Well, we have not yet voted on it, but if we were to do so, what date works best for you?
It would be Monday, the 27th, or Tuesday, the 28th, not
Correct.
26th or 27th.
26th is
Sorry. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure we have numerous people that may be here as well. But either one of those days works here.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to be heard on what's an appropriate date? I personally have no intention of going out another 2 weeks. I will not vote for another 2-week continuation. So
I agree.
just let people know. But is anyone else who wishes to be heard on that? Please raise your hand so you can be brought into the meeting. Okay, thank you, Ms. Courier.
We have one. We send her in. There's
Okay.
one.
Okay. Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
I just want to make sure that I stay looped in on the planning regarding any continuances,
Yep.
any current actions. And I'm sorry, but this does not seem to be following the agenda the last 2 meetings. Is that typical? I'm just asking.
Well, we did, the board voted to take the matter out of order. And that did pass, so that's why we're discussing it. The question that I have for you, if this board grants continuance, LCAT has indicated that they could do a planning board meeting next Monday at 6 or next Tuesday at 6. And I wanted to get what your opinion is on whether you would be available either of those evenings.
I'll make myself available. Thank you, Russell.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me? Can you still hear me talking?
Yes.
Yes. I'm just curious as well why we keep changing, because I know there was a few other people. They just never seem to get in because they're always near the end to get in, and then it's already surpassed. So
Yeah, it's, you know, we're running the meeting according to Robert's Rules of Orders, and, you know, we had to vote to take this matter out of order so that you wouldn't have to sit through the entire meeting to then have it continued. So that's why it occurred this way. So, all right.
Okay, so that'll be posted then, that this will show up on an agenda for a new
Yes.
meeting, so others could be alerted.
Yep.
And if there is a protocol to send out any abutter messaging, please do it. Not sure how it works.
Yeah, so this is a continuation of the hearing. There will not be another abutter notice. So,
Okay.
may I just ask a question on that? Are surrounding neighbors, what is the standard protocol? They are not notified of these meetings that are happening, because they would have no idea. They're aware. I've approached a few people actually that approached me of what's happening, but they were not aware that any of these meetings were taking place. I mean, they don't normally think to look on the town site. So, you know, I mean, normally it's just, you look on the site and see if there happens to be a meeting, if you're not aware of what's happening.
well, Bailey, do you want to address that?
Yeah, so I believe we sent out the abutters notice with this case. We do with all of our cases.
No,
And,
so- Sorry, can I
Okay.
clarify?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
under our bylaws, discussions of revocation are not public hearings, although public comment is taken, which is why Mass General Law didn't require public abutter notification or legal notice for this type of hearing.
Okay. So I'm going to bring it back to the board. What's the board's pleasure?
I'll move to continue it to Tuesday, June 28th. Is that correct? Yeah, June 28th at 6 o'clock.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll
Uh,
second that, John.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Pete, you're muted. You're muted.
This will be the last time, that's for sure.
I will not vote for another continuance. So, okay.
No, no way.
So by roll call, Mr. Chair,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
Mr. Punderson.
Aye.
I'm a yes as well. I see Mr. Levine, I believe, is still in the audience. So I know that Bailey will also reach out to Mr. O'Brien, but Mr. Levine, certainly you can make your client aware. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 1 under site plan review waivers, case SPRW 2022-17, request for a site plan review waiver for Pine and Birch Photography, a home office at 5 Leicester Street. Assessors Parcel ID 25-165-2 in the Residence C zoning district. Applicant Olivia Hall, 5 Leicester Street, East Long Meadow, MA. And this is continued from June the 6th.
Hello.
Hello.
So what we like our petitioners to let us know something about yourself, about your business, hours of operation, whether you're going to have employees there, and since you're going to be doing wedding photography, whether you're going to have customers at that location, and kind of how it all operates.
Yeah, so I own Pine and Birch Photography. I'm kind of just getting it really up and going and trying to do everything by the books now. So I do wedding and elopement photography. So my home office is strictly for editing. So I wouldn't have any sort of clients or photo shoots or anything. It's just my home where I do, all my editing. So if I meet with clients, it's generally at another location. So the only person that will be involved on the 5 Leicester Street location is just myself. And I do not have any employees at all. I work for myself, and it is only myself. I think that's it.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Sounds like a straight home office. And as long as there are no clients coming there, it
Yes.
sounds appropriate.
No other questions? Do I have a motion to approve the site plan waiver request?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call, Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. Best of luck to you.
Thank you for your time.
Take care.
You too.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, item number 2, case SPRW 2022-18, request for a site plan review waiver for Mimi's Consignment Boutique, a retail business at 54 Shaker Road, Assessors Parcel ID 27-169-0 in the Business Zoning District. Applicant Latina Duncanson, 69 Lucerne Road, Springfield, MA.
Is the petitioner available? Or a representative?
I don't see anyone with that name, but there are 2 phone call-ins. Oh, here we go. Never mind. Hina.
So we see a Tina on the screen, but we don't see you and we can't hear you yet.
I am here.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're there.
There you go. Welcome.
Thank you.
So because we're doing this virtually, we ask you to give us a little more information. So I guess with respect to this request, can you kind of, just for the people in the audience, the exact location, what business you're kind of replacing at that spot, what your hours of operation are going to be, a little bit about the company, that type of thing.
Sure. I will not be changing the name. It's still going to stay Mimi's Consignment Boutique that has been there for several years. The community is well aware of the space. The operation hours are going to be 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday. They close. 1 to 2 employees. It is a consignment shop retail, so we will still be accepting consigners, the same way it's been running at Mimi's Consigning Shop. It's just changing ownership.
Okay, great. Questions from the board? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Mr. Chair Swallow,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well.
Thank-
Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, item number one under, excuse me, item number one under public hearings, case SP 2022-5, request for a special permit for the installation of a wireless communications monopole and related equipment at 16 Meadowbrook Road, Assessors Parcel ID 78-1-0 on a 12 plus or minus acre site located in the Residence A zoning district. Applicant Celco Partnerships, DBA Verizon Wireless, 20 Alexander Drive, Wallingford, Connecticut, continued from April the 5th and May the 17th.
So Bailey, I'm going to ask you to kind of step in. A long history on this item. So the town did indeed hire an independent consultant who has provided the town with a report. The last meeting, we did not have a sufficient number of planning board members in attendance, so it was continued. So I would like, thank you for bringing in Mr. Maxon. So I think I'd like to have Mr. Maxon give a kind of a executive summary of his findings with respect to his findings on behalf of the town. So David, I'm going to let you roll.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
This is David Maxon with Isotrope, a consultant to the board on this application. We looked at the applicant's materials, spoke with Bailey and with the chair, did go out and make a site visit and toured the area and met with the chair and Bailey, and produced a report and also came up with a bunch of questions that we got some answers to with respect to things that I was wondering what the board might be interested in filling out in the way of information after having gone through the application and identified some possible tracks for additional information. I put those questions out and the applicant responded to them, I think, in very, very good detail. They provided some additional photo simulations, some coverage and visibility maps at different heights. So the board has an array of possibilities with this site. I also looked at their claims regarding potential alternative sites. I also, as I do, looked around for my own possible alternative sites that might have been missed or might be considered. There was just one that I suggested that was a property that might host a tower with less visibility. There are some difficulties with it with respect to its location. The applicant has shown some alternative sort of coverage maps from the south. It's not real close to the proposed site, but it's not out of the territory. So you have the coverage maps with all that different information, and you have this analysis the applicant has supplemented that shows you how visible it is, why they would require the height they need, that sort of thing. The general recommendations I give to boards are that if the height is okay, don't try to shorten a tower just because. If you have from the visual impact analysis some sense that a particular height reduction would make a significant difference in the visual impact on the tower, then you might consider that. As the applicant has pointed out, there are disadvantages to reducing the height of a new tower, and they are that they potentially reduce the number of carriers who can share the same structure. The same also goes for what is called the unipole design, the fat flagpole design. where you try to make this really trim looking thing because it's a cylinder, little narrower than a smokestack, but fatter than a flagpole. And then one of the challenges with that, and the applicant has pointed this out, is that to cram all their equipment inside the cover of a unipole, they would need more vertical height. I think they said 20 feet. I might say 18 or 16, but that's just kind of splitting hairs. But what it means is it reduces the co-location capacity if you have it as a unipole rather than a cell tower with exposed antennas on the outside. They also provided a simulation of a monopine tower with the fake pine tree look, and you can make your judgments with that option as well.
So in your experience and review of all the information that was provided by the petitioner, did you verify all of their coverage maps and you're comfortable with the method that they used to produce those?
Yes, I've reviewed the work of this office of Verizon in the past and familiar with their analysis techniques, and I don't have any issues with the coverage maps, the comparisons of the coverage maps. The only thing I might quibble with is population counts, because they're very coarse kind of population counts. They don't actually count people inside houses. They count them in census blocks. So if you have a census block with a lot of empty land, and you change the height of the tower and do population counts and those kind of things, you're going to have unrealistic results. But other than that, yes, I think good question. The coverage analysis was, I think, reasonable. And while we're talking about that, the applicant also supplied some additional information that they originally withheld regarding the radio frequency emissions from the tower. So I've reviewed their input data and their computations, and I can confirm that as proposed, the proposed facility will be compliant with the FCC safety standards, which is the limit to which the town can regulate the facility in that regard. As long as it complies with the safety standards, there's no further control that you have over the placement of the facility for those reasons. Any other questions?
I'll just open it to the board. Mr. Kingston?
Yeah, within the meaning of the federal law and regulations, would you say that this is a critical coverage gap?
Okay. Well, let me start out. That's a great question. Let me start out by saying that I am not an attorney. I just play one on Zoom. So anything I tell you is from a technical perspective and from my experience in actually being involved in federal court cases regarding these things, but it is not legal advice. Yeah, at this point, the applicants are looking at places where you might actually have cell service today, and it might seem like it's okay. But what they're looking at is the fact that there's just continuing exponential growth in demand for data services. So what they're trying to do is to put in new facilities that improve coverage where coverage is less than stellar, but also can provide additional capacity. And they've roughly centered this site between 3 other existing sites. And what they'll be getting is more capacity to the streets and the residential uses and other, commercial agricultural kinds of uses within the footprint of the facility. And sometimes it's not that those residences need additional capacity, but that the cell sites that they're relieving at the perimeter are already heavily loaded by activity near those cell sites. So it's a different kind of a metric than we used to have, which is, well, is there a coverage gap here? And it's more a need that is partially coverage and partially this capacity thing. So in that respect, I think it's a reasonable request. They've provided enough engineering information to show that it is it's kind of an appropriate best practice when you get into whether or not a federal court would rule one way or the other in terms of significant gap, I can't speak to that. But I can say they have provided a ample demonstration that this is a good location to provide that capacity offload for existing cell sites.
But the standard is you can override local zoning when there is a critical coverage gap. In your opinion, is there a critical coverage gap?
It's referred to in the courts as a significant gap, and I almost never give that opinion because I am not a court. What I can do is describe in engineering terms and in plain English what I just described. So with all due respect, I'm not going to say whether or not I think there's a significant gap in coverage here. There is a demonstration of a need for the facility, and it is reasonable and consistent with best practices of wireless facility deployment.
Okay. Other questions from the board? So this is a public hearing. So can I don't think I need a vote to reopen the public hearing. So if there are people in the audience who wish to be heard on this matter, would you please raise your Zoom hand and you can be brought into the meeting. I'll ask again, if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this item, please raise your Zoom hand. You can be brought into the meeting. Seeing none. So do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, George.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any
I was
discussion?
muted.
Any discussion on the motion to close the public hearing? Hearing none. By roll call, Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
Ms. Chair Swallow,
Aye.
and I'm a yes as well. So I'll go back to the board. This matter has been in front of us for a while. I think we learned from the PLH experience that when there might be even a consideration of a potential that this could end up in the courts, that at a minimum, we should probably state the reasons why we will or will not vote for this matter, up or down. So I'll just kind of kick it off. I am going to vote in favor of this. I believe that we follow the requirements of the zoning bylaw. We went out, we retained an independent consultant, Mr. Maxon. Mr. Maxon, I thought, did a very thorough job. And the findings that he provided verify what Verizon is trying to accomplish in this matter. Certainly no one wants, one of these in their backyard. I certainly don't. I think it's actually a benefit to the entire town, and I think the entire town will benefit. I spent the time over the weekend on the FCC website looking to see what information they had with respect to the potential health detriments. The FCC is pretty clear that they believe that the studies that have been done are inconclusive. I went and checked out the Verizon and City of Pittsfield information over the weekend. It was interesting to note that the independent consultant, the Board of Health for the City of Pittsfield hired, actually indicated that there was no health detriment on the site, on the cell tower site in Pittsfield. And I also noted that the planning committees in Pittsfield approved of this, and it was the Board of Health that had concerns, and it wasn't the zoning boards. The zoning boards approved this request, and I don't think that we should be venturing into Board of Health issues. So for that fact, for those reasons, I will be voting yes. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. So.
George, I have a question.
I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. So. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add. I don't know if anyone else wishes to add.
I'm also going to vote yes and in the affirmative for it. I think Verizon's done the due diligence needed to see clearly that this is a good location. There's not any health hazards. I've never heard of any anyway. So I'm going to vote yes for it for those reasons. And by the way, it's going to impact me in a positive direction, and I'll be very thankful to have things straightened out.
John?
Yeah, so well, being in the part of the town that I live in, I probably will have limited benefit to this, but what I will say is I have appreciated the independent report, had a chance to read it, appreciate kind of how the process has played out. You know, my hesitancy to it a few months ago was that I just wanted to exhaust every option to have it be, you know, out in the open. And I think there were some perhaps legitimate questions to be answered, but I'm pretty comfortable with the report that was put together. I think, you know, my concerns of, you know, not directing it at any particular company, I think, unfortunately, the federal law, at least in my opinion, I think has not come up to date with where technology is and where technology is going. But that's not our purview in this evening. That's, you know, a debate for some other group of people at another particular period of time. And those would not be, you know, reasons that, quite frankly, in my opinion, would be able to be held up in court. So I'm reluctantly in favor of it as it stands.
Mr. Chiarisuelo, do you want to add?
I think that we have tried to exhaust all options, like, which is something that I agree with John. Like, we tried to do that in the beginning, so that because we are on this board to work for the townspeople, so exhausting all options to get answers, since some of the neighbors obviously voiced their concerns. So given the report, I think that I'm satisfied. But I agree, I personally wouldn't want one in my backyard, so I hesitantly will vote yes.
Mr. Kingston?
I have still under the impression that we can only override local zoning when there is a critical coverage gap. I have not been convinced that we have a critical coverage gap. I've heard about best practices. I've heard about this is a good thing to do going forward for more data, but I have not heard critical coverage gap. And as you know, I do not agree with overriding local zoning by the feds for reasons other than that are really critical. And so I would vote against it, even though I'm outnumbered, and that's fine.
All right. Does someone wish to make a motion on this matter?
I will make a motion in favor of approving
The special permit.
the special permit, excuse me.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none by roll call. Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
Mr. Torsia?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Nay.
Ms. Chiarisuelo?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. This matter passes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Thank
Yes.
you, everyone.
Item number 2, case SP 2022-6, request for special permit for Murphy's Nutrition LLC, a nutrition tea and shake shop at 33 Harkness Avenue, Unit B, Assessors Parcel ID 12-33-0 on a 2.07 plus or minus acre site located in the Business Zoning District. Applicant Madeline Douglas, 50 Duke Street, Ludlow, Mass.
I see a Dan Kelly and a Madeline Douglas, but I don't see Madeline yet. Hello? You're muted.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
So I don't know who wants to start, but have at it.
I'll
start.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Denver, members of the board. My name is Dan Kelly. I'm the attorney for Murphy Nutrition. This is an application for a special permit for a shake and tea shop that will be selling Herbalife products at the stated address that Mr. Torch just gave us. Just to orient you a little bit about Ms. Douglas, she lives in Ludlow. She's a health and fitness enthusiast. That's one of her passions. She's been using Herbalife products as a customer for in excess of 10 years. Probably in the last couple of years, she began kind of just selling it out of her house to friends and family. And then in the last maybe year or so, kind of crystallized that, hey, this is something I really like to do for a living. I like to do this as an entrepreneur, and began looking for a site and settled on this particular site. In an effort to familiarize herself with the business, she has lifelong friends that own a extremely similar business where this one will be modeled after. This is the Garvey's Nutrition Shake Shop on Boston Road in Wilbraham. That's directly across from the Big Y Plaza. And Miss Douglas has been working there for the last several months in an effort to kind of just get some more hands-on efforts before she opens her own shake shop. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Herbalife, this is you can walk in, you order a healthy shake, which is a meal replacement, and get a tea with it, but different colors and different flavors, days of the week, and just things like that. It's meant for nutrition enthusiasts. In terms of the location, we suggest it's appropriately zoned. She will have 8 employees, not all at one time. Miss Douglas will be there every minute that this future, whether that changes in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depends on a number of factors. But going forward, there is no backup job. There's no safety net. She's all in on this. This is all she's going to do. There'll be, among those other 8 employees, there'll be 2 other employees on in the morning and 2 different employees on in the afternoon. So there'll be Miss Douglas and 2 other employees to help you should you go in there and want to order their products. Their hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, 7 to 4, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 2. This is envisioned where you come and get these shakes and teas for like either breakfast or lunch, maybe early in the afternoon, and they day. As you can see, they close quite early. This is not anything that happens post 4 p.m. during the week or 2 p.m. During the weekend. In terms of entertainment, there'll be none. They may have some Pandora playing in the background, some music, but nothing loud. Just have some to fill the background void of silence, if that, and maybe they just will start off without that. They're not going to have any change the exterior structure. It's in that little strip mall behind the Big Y, as I'm sure you know, in East Long Meadow. They're just going to use the space as is. There'll be no streamers, banners. There'll be nothing other than what you see there now. They feel as though that the parking there is appropriate and the traffic patterns are appropriate for their business. And that's essentially the presentation, unless there's any particular questions.
Well, I'll open it up to the board. Board have any questions?
Which unit is this? What was there before?
It's right next to, I believe, the bakery, I think you just put in, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? So this is a public hearing, so we need to open the public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter, would you please raise your Zoom hand so you can be brought into the meeting? I ask again, if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter, please raise your hand, your Zoom hand, so you can be brought into the meeting. You have no idea how I can't wait to stop saying raise your Zoom hand. So, so seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Hearing none, by roll call. Ms. Chair Swallow?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
Mr. Torsia?
Aye.
Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. And now to the main motion. Do I have a motion on this matter?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
A motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, by roll call. Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
Mr. Torsia?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
Mr. Chair Swallow?
Aye.
And I'm a yes as well. Best of luck to you. This matter passes. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, item number 3 under public hearings, case SP 2022-7, request for special permit for a restaurant at 520 Main Street, Assessors Parcel ID 2B-82-1 on a 0.31 plus or minus acre site located in the Business Zoning District. Applicant Harshman Singh, 55 Briarwood Ave, Springfield, Mass.
So I before we get going on this, so I have a question on the application. So numerous places I see Main Street, and then a couple of places I see North Main Street. So I'm not aware of a Main Street in East Long Meadow. So should the, we can act on this matter, but I want to make sure the application is correct. So is it North Main or Main?
Hello, would you like me to answer that, or?
Sure,
were you-
yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, everyone, I'm Harshman. It is North Main Street, so the current location of Cookies Cafe.
Okay. So I would like, just at a minimum, that maybe that gets amended, the original application. So.
Sure.
Just, okay, all right. So the floor is yours. I mean, you heard the petitioner before you. So tell us about the business, hours of operation, employees, what you hope to do there, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, you got it. So we will be opening a fast casual Indian restaurant. Hours of operation will be 7 days a week, 12 to 9. That's the current idea. We'll adjust based on the market and how people react to it. So we have a restaurant currently in downtown Springfield. We've been there for about 30 plus years. So we will be bringing that food to East Long Meadow. We've seen that a lot of our takeout DoorDash orders come from the East Long Meadow area. And so we're just bringing that product closer. But we are bringing in a different fashion where it's fast casual, quick in and out. If you've been to the Panera down the street where they have the kiosks, it'll be simple, touch and go. We lost someone there to help everyone through who isn't familiar with the kiosk, but for the most part, it's a quick, fast casual place. Parking will be the same. Currently, we're big fans of Cookies currently, and we go there, we see the people parking on the sides. I don't think we will even need that much. I think the 10 or so spots we have there is ample. They'll be in and out. It's not really a place you really want to sit for a long time. Entertainment wise, again, we'll be doing the same thing, probably playing a little music. There is no need for entertainment there. Employee wise, we will have about 5 to 6. One of us, us as in the family, we will be there at all times, making sure the product's right. But about 5 to 6 employees, 4 in the back, 2 up front, managing every there. I think that's about it.
Okay. Questions from the board before I open it to the public?
Will you have a liquor license there?
We are planning to apply for it, but it's a major part of our business.
So you broke up a little bit. Could you repeat that answer, please?
Yeah, sure. So we are planning to apply for a liquor license, but it is not a major part of our business. It's just something that we would like to have on hand for those who do choose to dine in.
How many people do you think you could actually fit for dining?
Currently, I think the seating is for 30 plus. We will be adjusting it and to have a little less. There's a bunch of tables kind of stuffed in there currently. We will be taking a few out and seating about 20 to 25 max.
Any other questions from the board? If not, I will open the public hearing up. If there's someone who wishes to be heard on this matter, would you please raise your hand? Be brought into the meeting. I say again, if there's anyone who wishes to be heard on this matter, please raise your Zoom hand and be brought into the meeting. Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, George.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion on closing the public hearing? Hearing none, by roll call, Mr. Kingston.
Aye.
Mr. Torsia.
Aye.
Chair Swallow.
Aye.
And I am an I as well. Mr. Kingston, are you out there somewhere?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, it should be Mr. Punderson. Are you out there? There you are. Okay. Do you wish to vote on closing the public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. So that, so the public hearing is
Aye.
closed. Thank you. Public hearing is closed.
Close it, yes.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve the special? Oh, I'd like to just make a recommendation during discussion about the hours of operation, that we make a condition of the hours of operation be 9 to 9. And that if you wish to expand those hours, you come back to the planning board. Anybody else feel the same way?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to approve the special permit with the condition the hours be, well, you close no later than 9 p.m.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Second,
Okay, hearing none by roll call, Mr. Punderson. Ms. Saraswello.
aye.
Aye.
Mr. Torsha.
Aye.
Mr. Kingston.
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Mr. Punderson.
Aye.
Aye. All five
Aye.
ayes. So this matter passes. So just, I'm sure people are curious, when do you anticipate opening?
As soon as this passes, we will hope to close around July, and then maybe a month of rebranding to get it open, hopefully in the fall.
Look forward to
Looking
it.
forward to it.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Appreciate it, everyone. Have a good one.
Best of luck. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, item number 4 under public hearings, case SP 2022-8, request for special permit amendment for The Depot, a carryout restaurant at 64 Maple Street, assesses parcel ID 27-9-0 on a 3.08 acre lot in the industrial and business zoning districts. Applicant Steve Graham, 124 Stonehill Road, East Long Meadow, MA.
So Steve, you're muted.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. So tell us about the proposal.
The proposal is just an amendment of the existing special permit that was issued about a year or so ago. And it covers the addition of Cool Beans, which is a it's a operation that is serving breakfast and lunch from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. Which was originally, the hours of coverage, I think, were originally approved in my application to begin with for the depot, the ice cream depot. But we've added the component of breakfast and lunch now through Cool Beans.
So Bailey, do you happen to have the original special permit that you can pull up?
I do not have access to that, unfortunately.
All right. Questions from the board? So how long has Cool Beans been operating?
Cool Beans has been operating since approximately mid-April, I believe.
And the hours of the depot ice cream are?
We open for ice cream somewhere around 11 to 12 o'clock is when we usually are open, and 12 to 8 to 9 o'clock, depending on the the season. Right now, we're open till about 8:30 or so. Close earlier in the fall.
And are you the owner of Cool Beans?
I am not the owner.
So this is a sublet?
Yes, yes, I'm subletting it to Jen Santos, who is the owner of Cool Beans.
Before we open it to the public, questions from the board, Mr. Kingston, I think you look like you're ready to ask a
I
question.
just want to say thank you, Steve, for regularizing this by putting them on special permit.
Any other questions? All right, I'll bring this, this is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address this item? Please raise your hand. I'll say again, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Punderson. So motion made and second and close the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none, by roll call to close the public hearing. Ms. Charisuelo?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
Mr. Torsia?
Aye.
Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
And I'm a yes as well. Okay, back to the board. Any further questions, discussion?
A motion to approve.
So a
Seconded.
second, motion made and second. Any discussion on the main item? Hearing none, by roll call. Mr. Torsia?
Aye.
Ms. Charisuelo?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, item number 5, case site 2022-2, request for site plan review for the installation of a mini railroad at 64 Maple Street. Assessors parcel ID 27-9-0 on a 3.08 acre lot in the industrial and business zoning districts. Applicant Steve Graham, 124 Stonehill Road, East Long Meadow, MA.
Okay, I want to hear how you're going to put on your conductor's hat and give kids rides. So,
Thank you. All right, this is my crazy idea of bringing a little railroad into town here, where the old railroad was. The mini railroad is sometimes referred to as a backyard railroad. I think that you have a picture of my locomotive so you can get a sense of the size that we're talking about. But the railroad locomotive measures about 5 feet long. It's roughly 18 inches high off the ground. And it actually runs on real track, aluminum or steel track, which is put in a bed of rock, just like a regular railroad would be, except a mini one. The track will run on the perimeter of the property, and it will run approximately 300 feet from north to south. So it would be parallel to the rail trail, run south, and then curve over across to the other side of the property and come back up the other side of the property and then connect. In addition to the oval loop, if you will, it's not exactly an oval, there'll be a couple rail spurs. One rail spur will lead into our car barn, which is located at 14 Maple Court. And so the little locomotive and cars will be stored at night inside the building. And there'll be a little rail spur that will run into the back of that building at 14 Maple Court. That's the 48 painting building, which we own, and we'll put a overhead garage door on the back side of it. The rail cars, there'll be 3 or 4 cars behind the locomotive, and they will be able to transport people, both adults and children. I anticipate approximately 3 or 4 adults and 3 or 4 children taking a ride on the train. There is a regulatory body associated with this type of activity in the state. So we are obligated to get a license from the state. And that license includes inspections by state licensed inspectors for this type of equipment, which we would comply with.
Questions from the board? So this is a public hearing. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this matter? Please raise your Zoom hand. You can go out into the meeting. I'll ask again, if there's anyone in the meeting who wishes to be heard on this matter, please raise your Zoom hand. You can be brought into the meeting. Seeing none, to have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, George.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded, close the public hearing. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, by roll call, Ms. Chair-Swallow,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Mr. Punderson. Mr. Punderson? I'm closing.
Aye.
Thank you.
My connection's terrible here.
Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit. Yeah. Back to the board.
Yeah.
Any further
I'm getting
discussion?
everything lit.
Well, this is an entirely new use, but I think it's consistent with what's going on there. So I would make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I'll make a second. It's the first railroad.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
We've approved
Hearing none, by
by
roll
the planning
call.
board.
What's that, Pete? On the motion, Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
Chair Swallow,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Mr. Punderson?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. So this item passes. So I guess the public would be interested in knowing
Aye.
when do you anticipate this would start, Steve?
Well, we're hoping to start doing a little bit of excavation for the track immediately. I think it's going to take us about a month to get it up and running. So hopefully before the end of this season.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Torsia, next item, please.
Yes, going on to A&R case, A&R item number 1, 2022-4, request by applicant for endorsement of a plan believed not to require subdivision approval under subdivision control law for the creation of 2 parcels in remaining land. Parcel A, plus or minus 442,082.27 square feet, which is 10.148 acre lot containing a portion of 265 Benton Drive, Assessors Parcel ID 10-3-0. In Parcel B, a plus or minus 894,717.88 square foot or 20.54 acre lot containing a portion of 265 Benton Drive, Assessors Parcel ID 10-3-0 and 90 Denslow Road, Assessors Parcel ID 10-15-1. All located in the Industrial Garden Zoning District. Applicant JSTW Limited Partnership, 90 Denslow Road, East Long Meadow, MA.
Mr. Smith, floor is yours.
All right, so the goal of this plan is, this is obviously the Mayberry building on Denslow. They are looking to purchase parcel B-1 as it shows on the plan to become an integral part of their property.
Okay. Questions from the board? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to endorse this plan?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. By roll call, Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Ms. Charisuelo,
Aye.
Mr. Torsia,
Aye.
and I am yes as well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
John, next item, please.
Yes, so going down here, it looks like we're under other business now. Downtown mixed-use development overlay zoning discussion.
Yeah, so I had a discussion with Bailey today. He's not ready to bring additional information for us to review, which is fine. I think we beat him up pretty good last time. He needed a week to recover, but no, we're very happy with what he brought forward and listened to our discussion. So we're not going to act on that this evening any further. Do you have anything else, Bailey?
Just for the director's report, I have one announcement to make. It is for actually related to the downtown mixed use. Nina and I will be putting together a survey for the public to take. It'll be an online survey, and I expect that to be on our website, on the town's website on July 1st, and then it should remain on there for about a month or so until around the National Night Out, where Nina and I will also be holding, or I guess having a booth for the planning department, and we'll be talking about the zoning ordinance a little bit for the public, so they're aware of the idea, and also give them, the survey in paper form if people wish to take it that way. So.
Okay. So we are now Bailey's going to post the meeting for next Tuesday, which is the 28th, correct? 28th at 6 o'clock, and that's the only item I wish to have on that agenda. So, okay, all right.
And that will be via Zoom, correct? Entirely?
Yeah, so, and I'm going to leave this up to the board, but we'll do this one by Zoom. We have to begin meeting as of now in person, no later than July 15th. So we could do one more Zoom meeting, the first meeting in July. I think Mary McNally mentioned that there is some legislation that has not been acted on that would extend it through December 31st. But as of right now, we can ask John to push things along down in Boston for us. But or you might not want to. So, so we should be planning on meeting in person, our second meeting in July. And Nina, where are we going to be scheduled to be meeting?
The school committee conference room at the high school.
Okay, so some of us that's very familiar.
I'm sorry, what are the dates of the July meetings again?
July 5th and July 19th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Question, is it possible to get the media room, which is larger than the conference room? The media room at the senior center?
I can check in on that.
Because that's bigger, it allows for more spacing of people. The school committee room is great, but it's awfully tight.
Okay.
Okay, good. Members have any questions, concerns, anything you want to talk about?
I do have one more thing to add, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I had the date wrong in September for the state election. I had us meeting on September 6th with no meeting on the September 20th, but it is swapped. There is no meeting on September 6th, and there is a meeting on September 20th.
We forgive you, Nina. So.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, there being no further business, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
And no roll call. All in favor, just say aye.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Aye.
hey, give me a call if you still want to talk.